Hey everybody, welcome to the Pashley Podcast where laughter is the best medicine.
And pickleball is a close second.
Doggone right, just coming out of the intro like that with so much energy.
So good. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Patrick Sullivan. Today is Tuesday, April 30th.
And we are at home in Fountain Hills.
And we have the little monkey taking a nap. He was the one who announced our show start time today.
Yes, he was, but that is being saved for another part of the segment.
Oh, we're going to come back to that?
Yeah, I'm coming back to that.
Ooh, you've got a surprise. I'm excited.
So,
yes.
Who do we have on tap today?
Well, we've got Cory Malkin, the director of video productions. But first, for all my fans, I've got a great Johnny joke for today. And look, maybe it's a good joke because, you know what, here's the joke. And then we'll talk about the joke. So the joke is, I'm the best man at my best friend's second wedding. Is it appropriate for me to open my dinner speech with, well, welcome back, everyone?
Yes, that's a good one. I love it.
And maybe it's a great joke because it didn't come from Johnny.
Oh, Johnny.
I found that one on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect Johnny joke. Let's bring in our guest today, a guest judge. It's Cory Malkin, the director of video productions for all of Jigsaw's wonderful videos. Cory.
And The Orchard.
And The Orchard. Good point. Cory, what'd you think of the joke?
I love that joke. I've heard it before, but it actually does make me laugh every time. Also, I got jealous a little bit, so I brought my own podcast puppy here.
Oh,
this is Caribou.
Perfect. Caribou. Put him closer to the camera so we can all see him. Oh, what a cutie.
Everybody needs a desk puppy.
That's right. I have another one below, but he's a little Riley, so I'm going to leave him down there.
You can feature him next time.
Yeah,
we have another little one down below, but the Lola button, is more comfortable in her
bed.
In her nap.
I don't blame him. Very comfortable.
Yeah, well, Cory, you know the flow of the show. You may actually know it better than we do. This is only episode number 6.
Yes.
And they say that basically 80% of podcasts don't even make it past episode 6. So if we can nail this one today and then come back again tomorrow, we've beaten the odds.
That's correct. And
So
I'm determined.
Yeah. Honored to be here for this milestone.
We're honored to have you, and so many milestones you've actually helped us to reach in the past. So the flow of the show is one thing that made me laugh, one thing that I learned, and one thing that I love. So Ash, let's start with you. What's one thing that made you laugh?
Well, one thing that made me laugh really hard is when I was making the announcement of the podcast today featuring the one and only Monk. If you saw it, it was a post that we put up this morning and shared to the story, but Monk was actually the one making that announcement, so it is impossible for me to describe. You have to go to Patrick's Instagram.
That's right.
And check it out. So the real Patrick Jr., right? Or is it Patrick Sullivan Jr.?
Patrick Sullivan Jr. It's the link's in the
Twitter.
show notes. That's right.
Link is in the show notes. Go check out today's announcement for the podcast, and you will also laugh out loud.
And we might use that as a recurring theme when we have a special guest, because why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
By the way way to our audience do some homework. I think that's great. They came here to listen to us, and all we did was give them homework. That's perfect.
It's fun homework, though. So what made you laugh, Patrick?
Last night, you and I were discussing at dinner that our morning routines are becoming more and more involved, and there's just so many things.
Yeah, they last till 3 p.m.
Is that too long for a morning routine?
They've become too extensive, I think.
Look, as we have improved our lives through meditation and exercise, we still take the dogs for a walk and we get that sunshine. There's just a lot of things to get done. So you said, on Twitter, it's like everybody that seems successful says, if you want to be successful, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. You're like, should I set my alarm for 5 a.m.? And then you said, I don't know. That's like 1 away from the 4s.
Yes, that is just way too close to the 4s. It's true. So we settled on 5:15. And then when we went to bed, I was like, let's do 5:30. That seems more reasonable.
She pre-snoozed.
Yeah, exactly. It worked out well.
So we got up at 5:30 and we pretty much got most of our stuff done. We were back at our desk. We had an early pre-production call
At
with Cory
9:30.
by 9:30.
That's understandable.
So it worked out pretty well. Cory, give us a one thing that made you laugh.
There's a lot of stuff that makes me laugh on a daily basis, but this one really got me. I was messaging my wife. We needed to pick out a new tree to replace our old tree in the front yard. And I was sending her some ideas. And instead of just saying no, like a normal person would, instead she sent me back a GIF or a GIF, depending on your persuasion, from our documentary of Michael Lloyd doing this.
Giving you the finger wag?
Just give me the finger wag of, no, not that one. So for anyone who doesn't know,
hilarious.
if you use an iPhone, Android that has the GIF or GIF keyboard, you can type in Breaking Pickleball and send those to your loved ones instead of having to type out a normal response, because it's way more fun.
Well,
How did I not know about this?
Well, now this is
Yeah.
going to be something that I learned.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
Okay, so
It's repeatable.
to walk through, if I go to my iPhone
Yes.
and I am going to reply,
Mhm.
I change to my GIF keyboard. How do
right.
I do that, Cory? Just images?
Down in the bottom left,
There you
there's
go.
going to be a kind of, what is it? It looks like a globe a little bit. If you click on that,
Yes.
it should pull up another keyboard, quote unquote, and it should say search tenor in the bar right there. And it'll show.
I don't have search tenor there, so I need to add search tenor on
Kinda
my
like that.
keyboard settings.
Yes, yeah. You will need to add tenor, I believe, as an app in your iPhone library, but the it'll
have it.
pop up as a
Okay.
GIF keyboard. And then you just search in there Breaking Pickleball, and it might come up with some other random ones, but it should also come up with all the ones that we uploaded last week.
This is genius, and I love this about you. Oh my gosh.
So this is
We
fantastic.
have to share this with the world.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Cory. We are now meme-tastic.
Oh
The
gosh.
first one.
With Chris
The
Headings.
first one is a body shot.
Yes.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Patrick.
we can't show. There we go. That's
Yeah,
a
there you
lot of
go.
glare.
There you go.
But it's pretty good for those of you watching. Oh, body shot Chris Headings. Shout out to Chris Headings and the Gilbert Gladiators. Folks, if you do have a comment, please leave those comments, type them in. We'll see if we get to them by the end of the show. Okay, that was incredible. We covered the laughs. Ash, let me come back to you and ask you, what is one thing that you learned?
I learned this, I don't know, I would say maybe a couple of years ago, but I was reminded of it yesterday when I was sitting out on the patio right before I went in to make dinner because it was like so nice in the shade. And then my ankles started itching and I was like, oh no, there's mosquitoes out here. So I
bummer.
ran inside.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes love me for some reason. But this is a great hack. Put coconut oil on mosquito bites. It immediately like deflames and like I did not itch the bites anymore the rest of the night and they haven't bothered me since. So coconut oil on mosquito bites, you're welcome.
Genius. Here's something that I learned. I enjoy listening to the Scott Adams podcast, and one of the concepts that he's talked about is something called Gell-Mann amnesia. Gellman, amnesia. Looks like Gell-Man, amnesia. And the concept is that basically when a story in the news is about you, you can spot those stories. Or if it's about like subject matter that you're aware of, you can spot the errors in that story. But then when you flip the page, or I guess as the case may be now, scroll to a news story, you think the rest of all stories and articles are 100% accurate because
Flawless.
you don't know where the errors are. And we have had a couple of articles written about us, thanks to the Breaking Pickleball documentary. And, you know, shout out to the journalists that I'm sure try to get every data point as accurate as possible. They sometimes, I don't know, it gets lost in editing or whatever, but you see something about a story about us and I'm like, oh, well, that's
not exactly right.
and sometimes it's like, well, that's not right at all. Like, I feel like one time there was an article, and this was probably 6 months ago, that said, and they do Tuesday night pickleball every single night, or Tuesday night pickleball every week.
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. It's like, when the season is in play, Yes, but not every Tuesday. So it's just one of those kind of things that then when you tie that to real life,
Yeah.
anytime you're listening to a podcast or watching a story or watching the news or whatever, what is it about that story that you have no idea what is true and what is false?
Yeah, that's really a great point. I'm totally guilty of that. It's like you just kind of tend to believe what you see and read, even though I know logically that's not a good idea.
Well, it's like we just assume that, if it's in the New York Times, for instance, they have layers and layers of fact checkers, right? Like everybody checked to make sure every detail was correct. But then Mr. Gelman says, no, they didn't, because that's wrong and that's not right and this is wrong. And you're like, well, shoot. Can we believe anything we see? And with that, Cory, I turn it to you. Can we believe anything that's on the internet?
Oh, you got to believe everything on the internet. Ben Franklin is famous for saying that. So it's very important that we do. As someone who's kind of involved in that, how the sausage gets made. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of fake stuff out there. So definitely have some discernment and caution when reading or consuming any kind of media, of course. But yeah, and that's why Go ahead.
Yeah, keep going.
I was going to say that's... Yeah, go for it.
Wow.
Cory, it's my show. You'll listen and you'll do what I say.
Do we need to get the mouth tape out?
Actually, this is... God, the Surgical Tape Chronicles, we gotta move on from that. We can't be a one-trick show.
We can't.
It's not going to work. Okay, so Cory, you were talking about... So Cory, folks, is our director of video productions. And sometimes often, we make some amazing edits that make you see, like, I can't believe I'm seeing that. In fact, a little teaser for a video I'm going to play in a little bit here, a video that has not yet been released for the Blue Raspberry Pickleball Cocktail, and you're going to watch that and say, how the heck did they do that? But Cory, talk about in Breaking Pickleball, there were a couple places during the game where from the storyline, it was like, well, the first serve of the quarter was bad. So we're like, well, the next point is better, but it doesn't make sense in the narrative. So Cory was like, hold on, let me just edit the scoreboard. So instead of 14 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock, it looks like it's 15 minutes on the clock. Is everybody okay with that? And I'm like, it didn't affect the outcome. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we wanted to never alter the actual score, but I think there was specifically 3 shots.
AKA history.
Yeah, we weren't trying to change history. We were trying to tell it as it happened. But there was definitely 1 or 2 points where it was like, well, how this quarter started is very confusing to understand, or maybe it was the ball was given to the wrong server. Something happened. Just there was a little flub that would distract or take away from either the momentum of the game or kind of how how we were portraying a certain character in that moment of, we kind of need them to start the serve because we've been following them this entire time. And to jump to a different character all of a sudden that we haven't been following or that, is not necessarily part of it would just be extremely confusing for an audience. So it was more about just trying to keep the direction and the flow of the game correct. And again, we never changed any scores or anything like that. It was always just like, hey, maybe we need to put some point a bit earlier than when it happened, but it still happened in that order,
Okay, I have a question for you guys. What is the opposite of amnesia?
Is this a dad joke?
No, it's not a setup. Well, it's a setup for something different.
I feel like it's a setup.
Like amnesia would be you forgot something. So it's like you remembered. So Gelman remembering is an example of Cory doing a little tweak to the scoreboard time clock so that so something was more clear. I don't know.
Yes. We always did what we did for the sake of clarity.
Rob, I think you're correct. We've got number 1 fan Rob Noonan saying Patrick going off script again.
Yes, he is, Rob.
Yeah,
yes,
and of course I am. So Cory, go ahead and hit us with what is one of the things that you learned?
One of the things I learned, boy, I'm gonna change the topic here quite a bit. This has changed my life in the last 2 weeks. I went to my chiropractor and I was having a lot of issues. I run a lot, but I was having a lot of issues with my right knee, and I've had them over the years for a long time. And so I have these flare-ups that were happening. I haven't had any surgery or anything crazy on my knee, which is good, but it definitely felt like it was getting to the point of, hey, something's off, something's really off. And so I told him that, and he let me know, try doing a wall sit for a minute in addition to my other stretches before I go running or before I lift heavy weights on leg day. And just do it for a minute, and then that'll get kind of all the muscles around the kneecap to be activated. And I started doing that, and I have not felt anything in my knee since, and it has been absolutely life-changing. So little pro tip from Dr. Josh, my chiropractor, that I greatly appreciate. So
I like that tip.
I could wall sit for 1 minute, I think.
It's
kind of tough.
Think.
It really is. Once you have
sure
45 seconds.
At the end of it.
Yeah, you start looking at your watch every half second, realizing that it's going slower and slower and slower.
Longest minute of your life.
Exactly.
Longest half second of your life.
100%.
Cool. All right. So Ash, what is one thing that you love?
One thing I love is the fact that I went to a coffee date today with a girl that I was friends with, childhood friends with, like I'm talking kindergarten through like 4th grade in Cody, Wyoming, before we moved to Arizona. And like 4 weeks ago, I ran into her in the coffee shop near our house, and she was
Which is called?
Zingara, of
Our
course.
favorite little coffee shop.
You've heard us mention it before. And she chased me down. She's like, oh my gosh, are you Ashley Leroux? And I was like, yeah. And she said, you look the same, only a lot taller. And so it was just really cool to run into her. So we decided to schedule a coffee date and just catch up this afternoon. And one really cool thing about that was she revealed that she's been a Jigsaw Health customer for years. She's like, I cannot believe that you guys are the owners of Jigsaw Health. She said, I've always purchased through my doctor, but not directly through your website. So I did not know that it was you. Otherwise, I would have recognized. But she's been taking Mag SRT, our sustained release magnesium, for years, and our adrenal cocktail more recently. And I was just like, what a small world. This is so crazy. It was just a really cool moment and such a fun catch up. So that's something that I love today.
I love that. It's so funny because part of, I think, our character diamond for Jigsaw Health, even though we've been around for 19 years, we always think of ourselves as small and scrappy and nobody's ever heard of us. And so when we do run into people, old friends, doctors, whomever, they're like, oh, yeah, I've been recommending Mag SRT to my patients for years. We're like, you have?
Yeah.
We have this, we're always trying to punch up sort of feeling, I think. So that's great. Very cool.
Tell us something that you love, Patrick.
Okay, well, something that I love, and you're going to have to bring Monkey into the frame for this a little bit. This is a little risky and almost a little mean. But I am generally the guy that feeds the puppies. And there's one word for the morning feeding and the evening feeding. And I say, hey, do you want some breakfast?
He's looking at you. He's like, did you say what I think you said?
And now I feel bad that I said it because he's here. He's actually doing okay with it. But normally when I say that word, it's like, oh, we are ready. And I just love it. It's just so cute. Dogs are the best.
Yeah.
Everybody's dogs are the best.
And it's the most important meal of the day for them, twice.
Yeah, exactly. Cory, what's one thing that you love?
All right. Well, I came prepared, sticking into the bit of the food theme that I think you guys had yesterday, and they're not a sponsor, but salt and vinegar pistachios. Oh my gosh. This is the best snack ever. These are so good. And they're just like, it's that perfect, kind of salt craving that I get, especially in the afternoon or like right after a workout, something like that. Oh, they're so good. So I'm going to go with those.
I'm going to have to try those.
I love it. Well, before we get into the things that we're digging, let's look at this question from the show. From Aaron Stofko, if you got to play with one pro from TNP for doubles, who would it be? Also, what is the official ball used for TNP? The official ball is the DuraFast 40. And Ashley, let's go to you first. Who's one pro from TNP you would play with?
I am going to answer that quickly.
Okay.
And it's Ashley Candelaria. because, I don't know, Smashly Squared. We could do so many fun things with our team name. And also, she's just a complete BA, just like she's amazing. And I think we could crush it.
That is awesome. Cory, I'll go to you. So Cory, for those who don't know, doesn't really play a lot of pickleball, but he has filmed and produced more live pickleball than just about anyone. So he knows everything there is to know about the game except playing it. Although that's changed a little bit. You've started to play with your
pretty good
brothers,
now.
right?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Would be very kind.
So who would you play with from TNP?
Well, that's a good question, because are we restricting it to just Arizona Pickleball League, or are we going beforehand?
Yes.
Because I did play with a pro from before Arizona Pickleball League.
We'll talk about that.
I'll talk about that one. So that was actually the first game of pickleball I had ever fully played, other than just like hitting around or testing or, just playing around on a court, like an actual real game 211s, side out scoring, all that stuff. And that was with Irina Terashenko. The very first game, she played left-handed. I think we were facing the rest of our crew, so RJ and Cam. Very one-sided team here. And obviously we won, but, that was like probably the best game I think I could have ever played at the beginning. And I thought about just ending right there, topping off at 100 batting average kind of thing and going out on the win. But I've picked up the paddle a few times since. But that was a blast.
Well, let's see.
Shout out Irina.
Shout out Irina.
And LP Goat.
Which pro would I play with? Well, they didn't say it had to be. Could it be a security professional?
No, it has to be an Arizona Pickleball League player.
Man, I was trying to get OSG onto the podcast here. Okay, so for me, and it has to be Arizona Pickleball League?
Yeah.
Wow. I think the pro that I would play with. This is a really tough choice because
I know.
there's great players.
Great question.
I love your choice. All right, I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with Craig Johnson.
Oh.
Because Craig Johnson would never get mad at me when I missed a dink into the net. Craig would keep smiling and would never make me feel bad.
He'd have the best time ever.
He would make me feel happy and laugh the whole time. And I'm concerned that the 20th dink into the net, every other pro might eventually say, sub, we need a sub, please. So Craig Johnson, if you're listening, if you're one of the 8 viewers tuning in right now, know that I choose you.
We'll add that to the snippets.
Oh, that's a good idea. All right, getting back on track. Ash, what is one thing that you're digging right now?
One thing I'm digging right now is a book. Actually, it's a book from 2020, but it's called American Dirt. My sister recommended it to me. Apparently, it's sold lots and lots of copies. It's on Oprah's book club list and whatnot. But I did pick it up over the weekend, and man, does that book capture you right away. If you like edge of your seat, like high drama, intensity in your books, which I tend to like, check out American Dirt. I'm almost halfway through. It's fantastic. Beautiful.
Something that I have been digging is what we do every night for our dinner cocktail. So really 9 months ago, we started cutting way back on alcohol. We stopped drinking during the week, and that was good for us. And then at the beginning of this year, I talked about this in one of the previous pods. I was just like, think it's time to go cold turkey. So in the last 4 months, I've had like 4 or 5 glasses of wine, something like that. And at night, we do this dinner cocktail, which is Topo Chico club soda, by far the best club soda, and Lakewood organic tart cherry juice. And this is a delicious drink. Plus, it's got antioxidants.
Yeah, so cherry juice is actually really good for you. It's very anti-inflammatory. It has a lot of numerous health benefits. It's also good for sleep. So adding some of that into the little sparkling water is tasty and nutritious.
And it's like, it's hard to abstain from alcohol. I like the taste. I've tried it. I've checked it out, and it's nice. So you got to replace And this
Better than plain
this
water.
dinner cocktail is way better than plain water. So
And it's the color of red wine, so it's a little bit of a mind trick.
psychological. Cory, what's something you've been digging? Did you bring anything?
Oh, well, I did bring it, but I already finished it, and that was my blue raspberry pickleball cocktail. Because I'm one of those. Yeah, I'm one of those strange creatures that works out after work, so I always have it around like 2, 3 in the afternoon, and I just, man, I chug those so quickly because that blue raspberry flavor is so good. But yes, that is the perfect segue as well into, I think, what you're going to preview here for us.
Yeah, you segued it awesome. Okay, so talking about amazing editing, I give you, without further ado, a commercial that is yet to be released. The orange team versus the blue team. Let me go over here and go to full screen. And for those of you that can't watch, I apologize. Here we go. One more. This guy knows all my moves.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And now the bloopers.
Sorry.
Welcome to Funny Friday. How can I help you?
All right, we're good. Perfect. I'm in danger.
Gosh, we don't have any fun at all, do we?
None whatsoever.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. That turned out so good.
Cory,
I put my life on the line for those shots.
so maybe explain to the audience, how do you do that?
Very carefully. Yeah,
Very carefully.
We had that idea, I think, after doing all the pickleball cocktail. Gosh, this would be almost 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. Orange flavored, track suits with you and RJ. All those videos that we've done over the years. Once we introduced the new flavor, I think it was pretty obvious to all of us that, okay, we need some blue track suits because we now have the new flavor. And then really, I think the idea was RJ's of, well, what if it was these flavors having a face-off? Thus, this video idea was born. And of course, we had to get in a shot of you actually playing against yourself at some point in there, which is probably my favorite shot from the whole thing, except RJ trying to chug pickleball cocktail and missing his face. It's a close second. But yeah, essentially just getting those shots. You saw there a little bit in the bloopers with you, Patrick, on one side, and we actually had Christian on the other
Orange
one.
Patrick.
Orange Patrick on the right, and we had blue Patrick on the left, where Christian kind of stood in just to give you a pace to kind of follow. And then, so we shot it on one side, shot it on the other, and then I just took the two shots, married them together, and a little CGI
And added the ball
pickleball.
in, right?
That's right.
CGI
that's right.
pickleball.
That
and
was
then
the
RJ
pickleball.
did the sound for the pickleball, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So that pickleball was actually a shot RJ and I got about 3 years ago in our Suite 3 studio when we were filming a bunch of different elements for ads for Pickleball Cocktail. We've had this green screen shot of a pickleball rotating in our library for almost 4 years now, and that gets used all the time. So very glad we still have that.
Incredible.
Well, while we have you, Cory, I would love for you to give a quick little blurb to the audience about how you started at Jigsaw Health, like how'd you get into film and how all that, like your origin story, so to speak, of like how you ended up working with us clowns.
Yeah, well, clowns is a great descriptor. I think that's very fitting. For me,
watch
it's yeah. I'll speak for myself there. It started really when I was in middle school, high school. I was in theater, did a lot of musical theater growing up, and the older I got, we started diving in and kind of making some short films with my actor friends. And my oldest brother, Kyle, who at the time was at USC, and he was like, hey, I got a camera. I want to write some music for movies. And so we started making these really just terrible short films that were really fun and kind of funny to make at the same time. But that's sort of dipped my toe in the water of, what is the world of filmmaking and sort of the things that you can do with it. So much so that I went to the University of Southern California's film school, the School of Cinematic Arts. And in my junior year, I called Patrick during that summer, basically to say like, hey, I really need to be able to pay rent this summer. Can I ship boxes from your warehouse? Can I do something at Jigsaw? Can I, just to basically pay the bills? And thankfully, Patrick said, you know what? I think I have some work I can put you towards, but none of it was really video at the beginning. I was doing some other sort of odd projects, some research things for you here and there throughout that summer. And then I think we got to the point where you called me one morning and were like, hey, you're in film school, right? You work with video? And I was like, well, yeah, that's part of it. So I did some video editing on a video for your old band. And then pretty much from there, it was like, oh, wait, we can just shoot videos for Jigsaw. We can do this for ourselves. And really, we started jumping in, making short videos, short, funny sketch comedy videos every week, Funny Fridays, for almost 2 years in a row. I think we started making one every single week. And I was brought on full time after I graduated. So actually, while I was doing my senior year of film school, I was flying back almost every week to make those videos with you guys. And then graduated, jumped on full time. And, now here we are with hundreds of sketch comedies and FAQ videos and now a documentary series as well, all under our belt. But who knows where we're going next?
I remember part of the origin story, if you will, where it was a blooper reel that you made featuring a member of our scientific advisory board at Jigsaw Health, Tom Arts. He's a trumpet player, and we were rehearsing in our band room. And I don't know why I recorded it. It was sort of like let's just record some of the session. Tom was a little rusty on the trumpet. And I sent the footage to you, and I was like, hey, maybe you could turn this into something. And what I especially was like thrilled with was how you took all that raw footage and turned it into essentially a storyline, like a bloopers storyline. And it was so good. We ended up playing that. That video was played during NBJ Summit, I believe, the following year as like Tom Arts' walkout music.
For how many people?
Oh, I don't know, about 600 or so industry executives.
I don't know how happy Tom was about it, but I think he came around to the idea. Everyone loved it so much. I mean, it's like, come on.
That's right. Tom is a great sport,
fantastic.
and everybody that knows Tom knows that behind the blue blazer is a guy yearning to be a trumpet player. So I would say it worked out fantastic. And that was really just the beginning of, hey, let's try to lean into some of this video work. And, wow, kudos to you and the whole team that we have for turning the work that we did of season 1 into Breaking Pickleball, the documentary that we are now in the process of pitching to Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and Apple. And I guess maybe they're going to try and pitch it to others.
But you can still access it to buy lifetime access if you want to go check it out, breakingpickleball.com. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Any other randoms, speaking of Breaking Pickleball?
Well, next week we are going to be, I think we're going to move the Pashley Pod, not the Pashley Pad. We're going to move the Pashley Pod over to just the YouTube channel because it feels like we're spamming too many channels right now. Like, we're just going to focus on just that channel. So that, folks, is where you want to go to. It's youtube.com/PashleyPod. You'll see a link in the show notes to subscribe to that. We'll still promote it on our Twitter and on our Instagram and stuff like that.
Well,
we'll still have
someone will promote it.
That's right. We'll still have Monkey help us promote
He's
it.
like, quit waking me up from my nap.
He sleeps on a desk. Like, his head just lays flat on the desk, and he loves it. I don't get it. So yeah, that was my only other random. Any other notes in the notes?
I think that's it. I know we went over our 20-minute kind of thing, but when we have a guest as good as Cory Malkin, we can go as long as we need to because this was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
I guess, well, we have a comment here from the Orchard security guy. Is Cory's microphone straight from the We Are the World video? Hashtag
Old
legit.
school.
I think what he is most impressed by is that is a very big fuzzball on top of it.
It is very big, and I still need to get this thing OSG certified, so I need a sticker right here.
Yeah.
Does this count,
Work on that
OSG?
as soon as possible.
Let me know if this counts, because that would be awesome.
He'll probably have to do like a 75-point inspection.
Yeah, that's true.
Easily.
Of course.
It takes a few hours every time.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in today. Ashley, how did you feel like podcast number 6 went? You think
I
we're
feel
going to
like
make it?
it was pretty smooth today. Getting better all the time.
All right. Cory, scale of 1 to 5, how did we do on the pod today?
Oh, I'll give you a 5. And I had a great time, being as this is the first time in about a year I've been interviewed in here, last time being for the documentary. So hopefully I did okay too.
Yeah, I
did
would say
great.
about 3 stars, maybe 3.5.
Room to grow.
I'll
Just kidding.
take
you
it.
got 5
Hey.
stars. Definitely.
I'll take it.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
See ya.